Hi, and welcome to Dynamic DCUO. Volmy here, and Wind is right there.
How you doing?
And we put together a combination of my epic failure solo run with Dingy, my mental character, and with Wind and his quantum hero character going through the new Birds of Prey solo. And once Wind gets past this part of the video where he was showing us adjusting his stuff here, then I'm going to let Wind take it away, and I'll just do the play-by-play interjections.
Hey. I was showing the solo and the level of it. Thank you very much. It was not... Anyway. So, no, we wanted to put this together to show, first of all, heroes and villains have a little differences in this run, so we kind of wanted to show a few of them. But we also wanted to just talk about some of the things we encountered during the run, such as a few pitfalls, especially for Dingy. But
oh, and there's nothing wrong with your volume. He's adjusting sound, but we didn't edit that part out. There's no sound.
Yeah, and this room right here, when you come in your second time, will have a camera on the left-hand side that you can deactivate and turn off the cutscenes. But this video is compiled from our first two original runs, so we didn't have that option. We will be cutting between Dingy and Wind just to show the different sides and the different powers a little bit. But things really pick up once we hit the first boss.
I never tire of seeing you climb up that wall trying to go through the door.
Hey, if I only do it once, I'm exceedingly happy. It's not as bad as super speed.
And if you do it at least once, I am exceedingly happy.
Oh, I always do it.
And this is the part where I was bragging about how Wind had died during his run, and I was going to go through it without dying and go nye.
Yeah, how'd that work out for you?
Not quite like I thought. I only died like 9 times.
Yeah, the solo video for Dingy running the Birds of Prey is really worth watching just for the comedy value. Because it became just, you couldn't help but laugh. I mean, I felt bad for him.
It's that whole quicksand thing. Once I started dying, I just couldn't stop.
Yeah, that's actually the worst I think I've ever seen that happen to you. I've heard about some pretty bad ones.
That's the worst I've had since Volmy was pre-level 30 and going through that Gorilla Grodd Devolver mess.
Kind of reminds me of the first time we tried the duo that has Black Canary as one of the bosses you have to fight and couldn't get past her.
Yeah, that was frustrating, but still we didn't die 10 times like I did.
Now, if you noticed here, it showed Poison Ivy on the villain side, and then we have Huntress on the hero side. Not a big difference, but it is interesting to have different characters on each side like it used to, because there's been quite a few solos and duos over the last few DLCs that didn't have that separation. So it's nice to see that. At least for me.
Well, and I think there is a difference because I think Huntress looks better than Poison Ivy in this.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the new look for Poison Ivy. Or Lois Lane. I actually liked her better in Science Spire. But I think
her hair looks distinctly disheveled.
Well, I think that's what they're trying to go for here, actually. I don't know why the necklace is not 3D looking at all. I haven't seen anything that bad in the game since Lex Luthor's tie in the Tier 4 duo.
Yep.
But it stood out really bad to me.
If the camera can look 3D, why can't her necklace?
I just don't get it. And why we're showing the run all the way up to the bosses is both sides fight different types of guys, but also just so you can see what you're going to face, because if you can't handle the guys on the way to the boss, then you're definitely going to want to just wait until you're stronger.
And there's no shame in if you manage to win the first boss fight and can't get through the second boss fight, that's okay too.
Oh yeah.
Now I was very surprised to see Steve Trevor.
Me too. Because I saw it in your video, I didn't play a villain until the next day. What was it you said about him and Wonder Woman?
Well, by the time I died like 3 or 4 times on this part of it, I was absolutely convinced that Wonder Woman had done some kind of funky experiment with him she should not have been doing to make him so powerful and badass.
I can't argue that point. Now, this looks like a normal run, but this is where things are pretty much getting ready to go south. And I didn't show all of his fighting after his first untimely death. I show both of our initial fights, and then we just cut to a bunch of Valmy dying.
The unicorns.
Yeah, I love it when that
We've
happens.
all experienced this, where you die just as you hit your bobbles and your supply drop rather, and then you respawn and there's your supply drop.
Now, this right here is actually a big difference in how we approach boss fights. I lead off with my trinket, my backup, my orbital, everything I have right off the bat to take him down as quickly as possible, where you tend to stagger it out more.
Well, except in my video on this particular one, I let off with my face.
Oh, and there's that beam. Now, if you watch my solo video, I commented I did notice the little red flash right before it happened in the right-hand corner. You actually get two of them, one in each corner. But I didn't pick it up until after I died, so that is your cue that that's going to happen if you don't see him shoot that beam, like how he just shot the beam to the side of Dingy. She had time to get up if she could see it, but up close as she was, she may not have been able to see it fighting.
Yeah, I think that was definitely one of the mistakes I was making is I was zoomed in pretty close on some of the fights, and I really should have backed up to get a better idea of what was going on around me, because I wasn't picking up on those ads nearly in time. Because several times I had them down low, but I couldn't finish them off because the ads were getting me, or had the ads got me down so low it didn't take much to finish me.
Yeah, because you can survive one direct shot from that beam if you've got pretty much full health, or at least it seems like you can.
But where I was trying to ignore the ads and go for the boss, that was a lot of what was getting me killed. That and not seeing the beam, and of course not seeing the barrel.
Yeah, well, the barrel does help.
I was just so unnerved by Steve Trevor.
Now, in this room, it's not as important. I do use the barrel as a cue of where I want to stand in here as well. But because Trevor's the one shooting the big laser, you still have to keep an eye on him. But the corner did seem to keep me a little safer here. But as we'll talk about in the final boss, the corner becomes your favorite place to be, or at least my favorite.
Now, I notice in here the beams for the room stick out a little bit as well. So you've got some of that same cover in these corners.
But the problem
is, where your quantum tunneling saved your butt.
Yeah, and that's why I like having it, because you can get out of a situation like that. But with the bosses being the one holding the big beam, that's the problem. If you don't see it coming, you're not going to be able to get out of the way in time, because you're pretty much right on them most of the time. I tried staying ranged in one run, and they won't let you. I mean, you can, but you will spend so much time moving. It's going to take just so much time and effort to do a full ranged fight. It wasn't worth it.
Yeah, I look forward to doing this with Lonica for ice.
Oh yeah, ice and fire are fun in here. I do both those on my hero side. I didn't film them. I just brought them through.
Well, today I got my ice character, or my fire character, Renata, up and ready for Birds of Prey, so she's ready to take it on. And that could be an interesting comparison too, to see how your fire and my fire compare. Oh, presuming I don't die 11 or 12 times.
Well, I don't think you will this time. You kind of know what to look for. But yeah, because we do play certain powers more differently than others. Ah, Lobo. Gotta love Lobo.
I want that mustache for Valmy. I really do.
Oh,
the hair is cool. Like you said, it's kind of like the Ra's al Ghul hair, except without a brush and comb.
Yeah. But like I was talking about, the difference in our fighting styles. So here you haven't let off with any of your extra stuff. Whereas by now I've burned through my orbital, my backup, my trinket, everything.
Well, on some of the fights I did. I mean,
Well, no, but
not showing the full fight on some of mine because that would just take too long. My run took 32 minutes.
Yeah, it did. But
that was a bad day. That was not my best. But, I don't get all angry and ticked off about those kinds of things, because when it gets like that, you're just like, okay, I'm missing something, but it's a game. It's not the end of the world. You got to have fun with it.
Yeah, and in a time like this, the issue issue.
Yes.
But it's still, you know, you got through it.
Yeah, I am the only reason I died 14 times.
But see, Valmy has this really bad habit of he doesn't like to take soda colas, and he doesn't like to use his trinkets. I mean, he just really doesn't use them a lot. It's one of those things we've joked about for years now, that soda colas and trinkets almost are irrelevant with him.
But yet we still manage to have comparable damage.
Sometimes.
Hey, I bet you Dingy had a lot more damage than you did on this solo.
I would hope so.
Hey, and as I said at the end of my video, she did not die once.
Okay, real quick, this corner I'm standing in where the barrel is, this is where I like to stand in this fight. And if you watch some of my more recent videos, like my iconic powers, you'll see that standing here, the Space Hog can't hit you with the flames. If you're on
And I think
either
there's a
side,
shot. That's the Holy Comes Out. Yeah.
Sidestep that one barely. But
yeah.
either corner will
that
work.
Corner to the right. Yeah.
Yeah, the little pillar that sticks out to the left of either hole will shield you the entire game if you stay there. And that's pretty much where I fight now. I mean, you don't have to, obviously, but you get in that corner and fight, and then when he comes in with the change, you can just fly up and down that wall a little bit, and you stay out of the Space Hog's range the entire run. That's something
that's one of the differences between me and Wind. I mean, there are certain things that each of us do better than the other, but Wind is really good at recognizing those kinds of things in the middle of the combat and adapting in the middle of the scenario. I tend to not always recognize those things until afterwards, and then I'm ready for it on the next run. But for not being a gamer, Wind is real good about picking those things out, those little things out on the screen where I'm sitting there going, die, 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 I'm getting killed, you know, all that sort of stuff. Wind stays calm and straight.
Well, it's like me changing trinkets, you know, that's where staying calm helps, because if I don't, I'm going to die, so I usually have to change my trinkets out of necessity, like, oh, I don't even have supply drop loaded, I must load it now.
Well, they really need to watch your iconic run on this to see you changing trinkets on the fly in mid-combat, because that is an amazing thing to see. I cannot do that. I got to swap armories. But it looks like we're about out of time.
Yes, it does. Well, I'll go ahead and close us out then. We appreciate you watching the video. If you like this kind of content, please click like and subscribe. Click the bell icon to stay notified. Leave us some comments and some suggestions. We'd love to hear from you. And as Valmy likes to say, happy gaming, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Biddy, biddy, biddy. That's all, folks.